and tonight is all about MMA appreciation, and appreciation for one of its finest members and one of the greatest people I've come across, especially in the sport. His name is J.A. Dudley. He trains out of Team Endgame MMA. He is quite possibly one of the fighters. You know, it was the transition, and that's always a cool thing. When you went from a transition to being a fan of his, seeing his work in the gym, you know, looking up to him, saying, oh, my God, this guy's a monster. You know, he fights like it, too. And then making that transition, finding out more about the person and respecting him even that much more, making that transition from to friend and really gaining a respect for him. And J.A. Dudley is, you know, a class act, too. He's a father. He's a great family member. Speaking of grandmas, his grandma, he has a beautiful family along with a grandma who, you know, she's a tough cookie as well. So, you know, he's a remarkable human being, and I can't wait to bring him on. And we're going to bring him on right now. So right now I'd like to bring on former heavyweight champion. He is also a class act. He is one of the members of Team Endgame, and he has fought on MTV2 on Bellator. He's a great fighter, ladies and gentlemen, J.A. Dudley. J.A. Dudley, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, David? How are you?
I'm doing great. It is an honor, sir, to finally be talking to you. You know, I've always wanted to get you on this radio show, so thank you so much for giving us the privilege of being here tonight.
No problem. I heard your introduction. There's a few slight things you got to, actually one thing you got to clear up, and that's the former heavyweight champion of the XFE. Well, I guess on paper you would say that I'm the former champion. I never was allowed to defend that title from that organization. For about 2 years, I asked, like, when am I going to defend my title? When am I going to fight again? I just looking for something from them, and they said, oh, maybe the next card, maybe this card, maybe that card. Then 2 years later, they offer me a fight. I said, okay, fine, send me over the contract. Then they offer the fight to the guy that I beat for the title and gave it to him versus someone else. And now he's the XFE heavyweight champion.
Oh,
but
wow.
He and I are good friends. We also fought again earlier this year for another organization. Unfortunately, I lost that one due to rest stoppage. It was a whole lot of things going on. One, I was mentally out of it, and it was just so much going on, and the cage was off level. It was ridiculous because it was on the side of a mountain. But, just got you were saying that I'm a family man. Yes, indeed. That is true. I just finished up family pictures, actually.
Cool.
So how's it going with you guys on the show today?
It's actually going very, very good. We're actually right now preparing for a pre-New Year's Eve, but, you know, we wanted to take the time to talk to you. You know, you are, and thank you for correcting me, you are the heavyweight champion. So give us a scoop. How did you get involved in MMA? Like, how did you first get into the gym, say, I want to learn all these arts, and then put my talent to use and go out there and fight professionally?
Well, I didn't know mixed martial arts existed at all. In 2000 I would say mid-2001, early 2002, being a bouncer at various clubs in New Jersey, one guy said, hey, instead of fighting every night, you should learn that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu stuff and learn how to choke people out. And I was like, what's that? Never heard of it, never knew anything about it. Then I was a personal trainer at the time as well, and someone that I was working with said that a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school is going to come in for a week and try and sign people up, so you should go check it out. So I tried it out. That was the toughest workout warm-up that I've ever done in my life. And now, at that time, I was playing semi-pro football, and a bouncer lifting weights every day, benching around 465 pounds easy. And just moving across the mat was killing me. So that was my introduction to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Then a week or two after that, I met my head coach, Eddie Rowland, because I really didn't fit in with all the Brazilians that were there. And someone suggested this place in Elizabeth called Bama, Boxing and Mixed Martial Arts. That was a school owned by Eddie Rowland and Big Dan Murgliata. You might know him from being a big-time referee in the UFC.
Yes, he is.
Yep. So I went in there. The quick story of my dedication to mixed martial arts is I went there, met Eddie, and he invited me to come on the mat. I got on the mat, and he's expecting me just to push him over. Like, no, I'm balanced, well reserved. He shot in for a takedown, and me, at the time, I was 285 pounds. I jumped guard on him. And
really?
He had to be, he had to have been maybe about 185 pounds at the time. And me at 280, 100 pounds more than him, jumped guard, landed on him, blew his knee out, and instead of screaming and crying, he passed my guard and choked me out in a side choke. Like, wow. This is
now, were you nervous in your first fight?
In my first fight, well, that came much later. I had a amateur shoot fight, I believe, in 2005, but I got into the swing of things back in 2002. That's when I started training. But I had a underground shoot fight out in New York. That was my first actual fight.
Right. Now, how long did you train before? Because a lot of people are out there and they're wondering, how do I get to Jay's level? Like, how much time do I have to put in the gym in order to get to Jay's level? So, how long did it take you to train and put in the time and put in the work? How long did it take you in order to get into your cage for the first fight?
Well, it was actually in a ring for my first fight, and I started in 2002, and half of the year I would train for football, the sport, and the other half I would train for mixed martial arts. So when I was training for mixed martial arts, I was putting in maybe about 6 to 8 hours a day training.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow. That's incredible.
Yep, that was my...
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I cut you off? I'm sorry about that. But
No,
I just wanted to ask.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because just to paint the picture for everybody and everybody that doesn't know him, Jay, like I said before, Jay runs a conditioning class. His conditioning is second to none. He also trains at Roski Combat Centers where you can actually see videos of him. His conditioning is absolutely sick. I mean, I've shown people videos of him training, and they were completely stunned at the level of cardio and the level of the conditioning that he was at, especially for a heavyweight. So when you think, okay, 8 hours, oh my God, that's out of the norm. That's crazy for a heavyweight to train at. This is a heavyweight out of the norm. He is definitely unique in the sense that his conditioning is top notch and his work ethic too is top notch. I'm sorry, continue. I just wanted to add something.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for talking about the Rebel Fighting System conditioning. But what brought that into play was my lack of conditioning for mixed martial arts. Because when I first started, I still had that power lifter mentality for everything that I did. I had no technique. Eddie and a few of the other instructors, Eddie Rowland, Frank Ursino was one of my Muay Thai coaches. So was Nick Grandinetti and Tony Valera. Those were my 3 Muay Thai coaches. Eddie Rowland was my grappling coach. And everything I did, I powered through it. I just used strength. trying to get through a simple technique, and I would find myself gassing out in less than a minute. So over time, Eddie taught me to be patient, relax, and just work the technique and let everything flow. So eventually I learned that, but as I started my fighting career, I would still see that I was gassing out in fights.
Right.
I wasn't getting beat up, but it would get to the point as where I'm just standing there. I can't lift my arms. I can't throw a punch. I can barely move. So I started to get it in my mind that I needed to train my body harder, more like an Olympic-level athlete than just the training that I was getting from mixed martial arts, because it just wasn't enough.
Right, exactly. And that's where you found, is that where Rocky is an amazing coach. I can't stress it enough. Eddie Rowland is that's who Jay is talking about. He is a legend in the sport. He's been around since the dark ages of MMA. If you're not familiar with MMA, the dark ages was pretty much when it was banned off of cable. It was when the boom of MMA, like how popular MMA is right now, that's the boom in Japan. From 98 when Pride came on the picture, USA, we could not get MMA on cable television. And while that was going on, Eddie Rowland and a couple of great fighters, old-school fighters, made headlines and made their way into the sport and really made a name for themselves. They are absolute legends. They absolutely need to be respected. And Jay, who he's referring to also when I talk about Rocky combat system, Rocky is an excellent conditioning and excellent coach in general. And that who
don't get it twisted. Dave Roski, he was in the mix of all of that as well. He and Eddie were featured in a NBC Dateline. I'm trying to think of what year it was. Maybe 2000 or 2001. Oh, it was 2001. Both of them were on there in these no-holds-bars fights, and where it was in high school gyms, and the crowds weren't there, and they were there at the beginning of the sport in its infancy.
Mm-hmm. And that's when Zuffa just purchased the UFC, and Dana White was trying to restructure and everything like that, and it was bad times. And like you just said, and you corrected me, Dave Rocky was in the picture, and so was Eddie Rowland, educating these people and educating the general public that, it's not so bad. It's actually a lot safer than a lot of these sports. Like, there's actually deaths in bowling. There has not been one significant death in mixed martial arts. And Eddie was on the offensive, telling people this is a sport you need to watch. And again, Jay corrected me. So was Dave Roski. And these are the guys that are actually looking over Jay Dudley's career. Now, Jay, I don't mean to cut you short or anything, but when did you realize, like, you can be a player in this? Actually, what would be a very good question to ask? When did you realize that you could be a title contender and become heavyweight champion if you really dedicated yourself to it?
When people from the various athletic commissions that I would fight at, or just the fans in general, would say, "Wow, you are just amazing. You're nonstop. You're constantly going. We want to see great things out of you, and we see the fight and intensity that you have in your eye, unlike anyone else that we've seen." So that's when I started to see and look at myself, saying that I can take this as far as I as far as I dedicate myself, it can take me as far as I want to go.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's paint the picture. Actually, what's a very good question? Actually, someone asked me this. There's a common misconception in mixed martial arts. As well as I do, styles make fights. The boxer versus wrestler. It's very contrasting styles. And you seem, and when I got in the gym, when I first met you, the one thing I saw out of you is you never took the safe fights. You always took the title fights where you stylistically, it seemed like you were at a disadvantage size-wise or style-wise. And a lot of the fights you have won, a lot of the fights you have lost. The let me tell you guys, Jay, when he won his title, he actually beat one of the sparring partners for former UFC middleweight champion Rich Franklin. Am I correct?
Yes, indeed.
Well, Jay, let me ask you something. On your road, and as you saw wins and losses, did your record ever come into play, or did it ever compromise you and say, well, maybe I need to switch up my game and take the easy fights? Because there's a misconception in mixed martial arts that your record determines everything about you, where in reality, your record is pretty minimum considering that styles do make fights. Did it ever take you out of your game when you did suffer some losses on your road to the heavyweight championship?
Oh, no, not at all. My thing was put whoever you want in front of me, and it's up to me to take the challenge to see if I could beat that person. If I'm going to say that I'm a professional heavyweight mixed martial arts fighter, I should be able to step in a cage with anyone. If they come out victorious, I need to look at what did or didn't I do correctly, where I can pay attention for that the next time. Or if I do come out on top, I still have to look at what I did or did not do correctly to see about what I need to change and add to my game plan for the future.
Exactly. And Jay, I just have to say, Endgame, the team that Jay trains with Eddie Rowland, it's in Teterboro, New Jersey, and it's perfect for Jay's style because if you look on YouTube, Jay has never put on a boring fight. He actually, win or lose, he has always put on a good show. Everyone's a huge fan whenever they watch his fights. He has always went in there trying to finish the fight, and that's what Endgame instills on Jay Dudley, and that's how they groomed Jay Dudley to be the entertaining fighter that always goes to end the fight and finish the fight. Now, so you say that it's about whoever they put in front of you, no matter who it is, what they are about, what their style is. You have no fear whatsoever, and it's shown in every single one of your fights. I mean, that's why I'm not only a friend, but I'm a huge fan of yours. Let me ask you, what was the fight that you wanted the most that they actually wanted to put in front of you? Because you mentioned a couple names. You mentioned fucking Bobby Lashley, and did he ever offer you like a Kimbo Slice, or did he ever offer you someone else on that level or that plateau?
You're offering everybody that was offered to me with big names. I was offered the Kimbo Slice offer was put on the table, and I said, send a contract. Let's get it going. But then, why can't I think of the guy's name with the colorful hair?
That's Dudley.
Yes, they gave it to him. Yep, they gave it to him for that fight. Then the Bobby Lashley fight, they were looking at me to go on to fight him on Strikeforce, and they passed me up for someone else. And a few months ago, while I was looking for a fight, Cage Fury, they had someone fall out. Someone got injured, and then the person that was there that didn't have an opponent needed someone. They called me up, was throwing numbers at me, and I said, okay, let's sign the fight. I'm ready to go. Then that guy said, oh, no, I can't fight Jay Dudley. No, he's a wrestler. I'm looking at him like, what are you talking about? I'm not a wrestler. I'm not a wrestler at all. Yeah, and then we have this back and forth on Twitter, him saying, you're a wrestler, I need more time to prepare for you. And I was like, I don't understand that. I'm not a wrestler. He's like, look, you've taken down Division I wrestlers, and you're saying you're not a wrestler. Well, okay, if this is mixed martial arts and takedowns are a part of the game, yes, I'm going to take someone down, but that doesn't make me a wrestler. So if you want to stand and bang with me, that's no problem. If we're going to make this a grappling match, that's no problem. I can take it anywhere. I can take the fight anywhere and work my way to be dominant because that's what I've been trained to do. Don't be afraid of that. Then after all of that back and forth stuff, Cage Fury loved it. Then they were just throwing out all these different names One of them, Baptista from the WWE, because he started in mixed martial arts. And I was like, oh, sign it right now. I'm ready to go.
Exactly.
I stay in shape. Because there have been times in my fight career where it was like, hey, we got a fight for you. It's like, when? 2 days from now. Whoa. Where I hadn't kept my conditioning up. My training was slowed down. It would be a little lackluster. But instead of saying, well, I'm not ready, I didn't have a full training camp, like, okay, well, fax over the contract and we will be there. That has happened for quite a few of my fights. It's like, I don't care. I am not going to turn down an opportunity that could go either way, and because you can't do that and still call yourself a mixed martial artist, or those words that they throw out for people. They're a warrior. They fight to the death. If you're going to wear those badges like that, it shouldn't matter who they put in front of you. You should say, let's go. You're a prize.
Right.
Here is a prize.
Right.
Are you going to fight? Yes.
Exactly. And you know what? This is a type of honor, and this is what I'm the biggest fan of, and that's it. Would you say that when you went to Endgame, it really molded your perspective on mixed martial arts? Because you have Eddie Rowan, who, even in his interview in 2001 when he actually did that on MSNBC, he said, I don't see a lot of fighters without honor succeeding in the sport. Did Eddie play a huge factor in Endgame in Teterboro? Did he play a huge factor in molding you into the fighter you are? That take on anybody approach, learn everything you can about the game, and really become a student of the game itself. Did Eddie play a huge role in Endgame in Teterboro?
Oh, most definitely. Eddie, Endgame, after Bama broke up in Elizabeth, Eddie moved In-Game Combat Sports Academy to Lodi, New Jersey, and then I believe 7 years later, now we're in Teterboro, New Jersey. But we are not a traditional school. There's no belt system. No one is calling anyone master or bowing or saying sensei this or sensei that. I feel uncomfortable when people come in and call me teacher or Mr. J.A. or different things like that. But we have a open form training regimen. If there are high-level moves that you want to learn, we're going to teach it to you. That's how I was trained. I wasn't babied along the way learning in a traditional way like you would in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Taekwondo or karate, where you learn these real basic moves to build on top of, which is a very progressive way to get your skills. But at Endgame, you're just thrown into the mix. Like, if someone new walks in today, they aren't starting in a white belt program. They are going to learn going in both directions. You're going to learn your basics. You're going to learn your high-level stuff. You're going to be rolling or sparring with professional fighters, and you're going to be rolling and sparring with newcomers just like yourself. Everyone is there to learn. Everyone is there to have fun. It's a family environment. It's full of people that want to have new experiences in their life. So
Exactly.
That's what I get out of In-Game Combat Sports Academy.
And let me just add something, and for the listeners there, I'll paint a picture. Let me paint another picture for you. I never even considered myself in the same league. I shouldn't be in the same room as Jay Dudley. But when I came in and Jay actually, you asked me to spar, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna get my head knocked off. I'm gonna take my ass whooping, but it's gonna be pretty brutal. You were actually taking it light on me. You were kicking my ass, but at the same time, you were giving me my licks, and at the same time, you were teaching me what to do to hit back and strike back. So you're actually giving me the courage, as I was taking my ass kicking, to actually teach me the right things to do to hit you back and strike you back in the right form. So you being who you are, and a guy who's made it, and a guy who has done his thing and who has been extremely successful in the sport, because extremely looked up to, I look up to you personally. A lot of people, look up to Jay as well. You actually let me get in the ring with you, and again, I can't stress enough, I don't belong in the ring with you. You treated me like an equal, and you actually taught me as you were giving me my black eyes, which, that's what I love most about Endgame. The people that can go in there can learn, and everyone's down to earth, just like Jay Dudley, this is why I have a huge respect for you, and I'm sure everybody in the game has a huge respect for you, because you treat everyone as equal, and just like Endgame, you are the epitome of what Endgame is all about.
And that's how I was taught with Eddie. It's the strangest thing for someone like Eddie to be so nice, and then when you're either sparring or rolling with him, he will dominate you and coach you at the same time. For a while, I couldn't understand how you could do something like that. He's telling you, oh, you need to do this, but then he would make sure he was there to stop that, to counteract that. Oh, you need to do that. Okay, I just did that, and now I'm stuck in a submission. So then the conversation will come up afterwards. Do you remember when I told you about this or told you about that? I wanted you to do this or I wanted you to do that. Now that you know these things, you have to know and feel when to do these things, or how to move on your feet, or how to use an underhook to get past, or to bait for an underhook and go in a totally different direction. That's his teaching style. He's hands-on. He's not like some of the instructors that'll say, do this, do that, and I'm going to sit over here and watch. That doesn't work for Eddie. No matter how injured he is or how many things that he has to worry about all throughout the school, he still takes the time to go hands-on no matter what weight class you are and give you the attention that you deserve.
Absolutely. And, again, you and Eddie share the same attitude and the same great attitude that is everything I love and a lot of people that have been through the game loves is, you instill this great attitude and this positive vibes, and you teach everybody and you treat everyone as equals, which, there's a lot of people that look up to you. Speaking of which, as a lot of people do look up to you, because as a friend, too, I'm a guy that actually looks up to you as well. Do you feel a lot more pressure going to fights knowing that a lot of people rely on you to succeed? Do you ever feel like that added pressure when you go into a fight, when you step in the cage? Do you think about, okay, if I don't succeed, again, I'm going to let some people down. Do you ever feel that pressure knowing that so many people look up to you at the gym?
No, I don't look to others for approval or feel as though that I'm letting someone down because I train and I fight. It's a gamble once you step into the cage. I can't guarantee the outcome. If anyone ever had a problem with that, they're no longer training with us, and not because they said something a certain way. They just didn't have the mindset to either be a fighter or to train, and that would be anywhere, let alone to train with us at Endgame or at Roski Combat Sports Academy in Rahway, New Jersey. There's
plug.
I didn't get to the plug yet. Yeah. But when I fight, I don't look at it as no. Let's put it like this: when I fight and I win, I say I am one step closer to my ultimate goal. If I fight and I lose, I feel as though that I'm one step away from getting to my ultimate goal.
Right, absolutely. And actually, speaking of which, because, again, your ultimate goal is to keep that championship belt, to take it to a higher plateau. And I've actually sat on the couch with you and marveled at your knowledge as we were watching UFC last year. I hope you remember, because all my friends are so starstruck that you're actually on my couch. But
oh, wait a minute, I got to correct you. That was a lob, a softball lob for you to knock it off the park. Keeping the championship belt is just a milestone along the path. My ultimate goal is to make it to the UFC so that my coaches Eddie Rowland and Dave Roski have that on their resume that they developed a UFC fighter.
Exactly, and that's what I was getting to, is that your ultimate goal is to get to the UFC. If you could name anybody that you see on the television, I'm going to ask random questions after this, like, favorite car and whatnot, because I'm sure everyone wants to hear some personal things about you, let alone about the MMA. But is there someone that you can watch on the UFC roster, knowing that you might switch to light heavyweight too? Don't forget that. Is there someone you see on the UFC roster that you'd love to get that contract, sign up, and say, listen, let me step in here, knowing that your attitude is, I'll take on anybody on the fucking planet? Who would you want to fight? Who is that one person you have seen on TV say, I'm dying, unleash me on this guy because I'm dying to fight him?
Well, I've never felt like that about anyone. Just the opportunity alone to step in the cage I would be grateful for that. Whoever's across the cage from me, it doesn't matter. You could put anyone across from me. I've fought people my height. I've fought people that were 6'7" tall. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how big or small or whatever. Whoever they put across from me, I have the task at hand to fight them and come out victorious. Am I up to that challenge? So it doesn't matter. I'm not one to say, oh, I'm going to call this person out or I'm going to call that person out. No. Whoever is man enough to sign on that dotted line with me, I will face that person.
Awesome. That's exactly why so many people that watch you are Jay Dudley believers. But now that we answered all the MMA questions that I had on my mind, let's answer some random questions. Like, we don't have a lot of time left. So random questions. Because right now, you're making it and you're making a huge name for yourself. What is your dream car? Like, let's say that you get that huge check, that huge bonus from the UFC. What would be your dream car to drive?
My dream car to drive. Let's see. My realistic dream cars, there are two vehicles. This is a realistic thing. It would be one new and one old. The new vehicle would be a Dodge Ram 3500 mega cab with the Cummins diesel turbocharged motor in it.
Oh, wow.
That would be that would be one of them.
That's impressive.
And my dream car is a vehicle that I had in the early 2000s. It's a Ford Taurus SHO. It's a beautiful car, and it's a sleeper car. It had a 6-cylinder Yamaha dual overhead cam motor with twin exhausts, and it was a 5-speed manual transmission. And it was killing it on the streets. I would race that car all the time, and that's a bit of a part why I'm a professional fighter, because I lost my driver's license, lost my job, and hit rock bottom. That's when I had to take the teachings of Tyler Durden to heart and figure out it's not until you've lost everything that you're free to do anything. And now I'm a fighter.
Amen, brother. Okay, So you become famous. You get that UFC contract. Who is your dream celebrity to date?
My dream celebrity date? Ooh.
Yeah.
There are two Spanish women that I just love their faces. Bodies are great as well, but oh my God, their faces. It's Rosario Dawson, that's one, and Eva Mendes.
Oh.
Like those are the top right there for me. And not necessarily in that order. I only say it like that because I found out about Rosario Dawson first. So she always gets top billing. But, Eva Mendes, it's just classy women and great actresses.
Wow. You have actually very good taste in women. All right, Jay. So you get that dream contract, and you're good to go. And like I said before, Jay Dudley is a dedicated and absolutely great father. He has a young son. He has a beautiful family, by the way. That goes without saying. You have a young son. You get that dream UFC contract. What is the first thing you buy your son football?
Oof. I don't know. It depends on when I get the UFC contract. Well, he's 9 now. If I get the UFC contract by next year, he's getting a rifle. Maybe like a little 22 or something like that, a rifle. If it's before then, not exactly sure. Most likely, he and I are not materialistic people. I've raised him not to want and whine and about unimportant things. But I do, from time to time, get him toys or anything that he wants within reason, and he has to give me a reason of why he wants it. It can't be like, oh, I saw that, it's shiny, can I have it? No, like, why do you want it? Explain it to me. Why do you need that? Just to give him some leverage. So when an influx of money is to fall on my lap, it's still going to be played by those same rules. There's not going to be any like, oh, Dad, you're a millionaire. You need to buy me a $500,000 car. No, you can pick from some American-made vehicle to start out with, and eventually build up to something more of a higher class.
Very nice. And one more question.
American-made car.
And this is why you're not only a great person, you are also a great father and family member. One more question, Jay. I hope you have a great answer for it, like you've been answering all night. J.A., you get that UFC contract, you make it, you achieve your goals. What is your dream before this life ends? What do you want to accomplish, not only in MMA, but in life in general? What do you want to see happen before this life ends? What is your dream?
Well, one is to own a lot of property in North Dakota and just have wide open lands, but that's the really, really retirement plan there. But the more realistic goal is to open up what I call the Rebel Fighting System School. And it's going to be implemented with a program called the Rebel Fighting System It Takes a Village program, where I want every kid available to come there to that school to learn mixed martial arts. But it goes more beyond that, because we're going to have mentoring there. We're going to learn job skills. We're going to have computer classes, swimming classes, yoga. The list goes down the line, all the way to having law counseling, to pottery classes. I want it to be a place where I can teach as many children as I can reach out to and give them life skills. Teaching them how to dress, how to act. A lot of things that are getting lost in this youth's culture is having culture. Like, everyone wants to be what they see on TV. Every couple of years it changes, and I know you've noticed that because it went from thugging it with a pair of Timberland boots on to trying to be a smooth, cool, shiny, pimp-looking guy to wearing tight clothes, like men wearing tight clothes and spandex and everything, and then sagging it on top of that and thinking that is an adequate look in today's society. I'm not trying to say that everyone needs to wear a suit and be buttoned up and have their gig line going straight. Like, no, I'm not saying that. You can have your own style, but you're not having your own style when you're copying the fads and trends. People aren't getting parented anymore, and I feel as though the old way that I heard about so much, that it takes a village to raise a child, I want to build a village. I want a whole community chipping in to have America's youth go forward into something positive, like where there's no obesity, where people know how to eat right, where you're not at a fast food restaurant every day trying to make ends meet. No, like we're gonna. I want to have farmland where people can go and tend to the land, learn how to plant something, learn how to cultivate crops. It's going to be a whole learning experience, not just the mixed martial arts school. I want something greater than just that. And on top of that, I want to be able to send someone to the Olympics. That once I open up my school, that would be my biggest goal, not just getting someone into the fight game. I want to send somebody into the Olympics, and not through normal means. I want to have a gymnastics school. I want to have a ballet school in my facility, but I also want to have a parkour facility. I want to have a crew that does graffiti, and I want to get them to be able to do whatever it is that they want. And then those graffiti artists, hey, maybe they become the next people that make a campaign slogan for the next president. Maybe someone I get into Juilliard. Maybe I get someone into the Olympics. Maybe I get someone that goes through my program that becomes a president. You never know.
Wow. That is a awesome answer. Wow. Overwhelmed is not even the word for how you've answered all the questions tonight. Jay, thank you so much for joining us. You can find him at Rocky Combat Sports. Follow them on Twitter. Watch them on YouTube. They've helped out plenty in the game. They've helped out JA. Visit at Endgame Combat Sports Academy in Teterboro, New Jersey. You can find Jay there also teaching classes every Tuesday. So if you want the game that has...
Every Wednesday, but I'm there all the time. Yes. And for me, just Google me. You can find out everything about me. J.A.Dudley, like Dudley Do Right. It'll be simple enough. Just Google me, you'll find everything.
And Dudley does do right, because every Wednesday you can catch one of the best classes for conditioning. Whether you're a man, woman, child, family member, whether you're a husband, a wife, whether you're single, you're just looking to get in shape, Jay Dudley will instill the parts of the game which we all know and love. Jay Dudley, thank you so much for joining us. You are a tremendous human being. You're a tremendous father. You're a tremendous fighter, and again, you are a remarkable human being. Thank you to adding so much to this life, and thank you to adding so much to the lives around you. Thank you so much, Jay Dudley, for joining us for tonight.
No problem. Take it easy.
Take it easy. Thank you very much, Jay.
All right, David. Bye.
Bye. Wow, that was awesome. I mean, just to give you some limelight too, just to let you guys know. You know, like I mentioned to my family members about Dudley and talking about, you know, what we were doing and everything like that. I actually brought up the fact that I'll be interviewing people and actually starting a radio program. I said, yeah, I'm going to bring on my friend Jay Dudley. He fought in Bellator. You know, he's done all these great things for me. He has done all these great things for his students. I mean, Jay, it goes without saying. Let me tell you something about Jay, and let me tell you something about Eddie, too, the school that he trains at. You know, when I was going through, like, a bad breakup or when I was going through, you know, my own personal issues or whatnot, they were mentoring me not just in MMA but in life in general. And my mom simply said, you are the company you keep, and you got the right company. Jay is a tremendous human being, and I wanted to bring him on just to show you guys that, you know, that's the type of person that me myself am very proud of being associated with. I am absolutely proud of everything he does, and I look up to him. He's my friend, but again, it's the same thing. I absolutely look up to him as a human being. So Jay Dudley, just leaving. A great show with J.A.